So I'm going to call this meeting to order. It is 6:30 on 4/20/21. And additions to the agenda. Anybody from the board have any additions? Seeing none. Chair's remarks. I have none. Open public comments. I am seeing none. Committee report. We are here accepting another COVID. Mr. David Emery. Go ahead, sir.
Well, thank you. I hope our meetings are going to be fewer and fewer as we proceed with this COVID. I talked with Mark Snow earlier. Oh, there he is. He's been having some computer issues.
Yeah, he just jumped in.
Okay. So he did get on. So I will start. So I don't have a ton to report. Not a great deal has changed. The only thing that you all know is that vaccinations are opened up to the 16-year-olds and above now to make appointments. There's no new data out yet for today. However, yesterday there was 93 new cases, 23 in the hospital, 5 in intensive care. And unfortunately, the death toll hasn't stopped, and that's rose to 242 across the state. However, today's conference on the 7-day average, we have dropped 24%, and that includes all ages. That actual 7-day average is better. The state is still on target for their target dates of continuing to reopening things. Right now, there's no big change other than in the restaurants, as you know, can open up more. The bars and clubs are opened. However, the percentages are still active and still there. And they're on target for the July of everything being wonderful. So having said that, the vaccine data is 50% of the state of Vermont has had at least one shot, one of the vaccines. 34.8% of the population has completed either 2 or have been in the past with the Johnson and Johnson vaccine. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine is still on hold. More data and more change on that will be coming out Friday to what the plans is. I know they have plans of putting it back into circulation. So with that, I don't have a great deal of other information for you. I'll let Mark have it, and then we'll open up to questions.
Thanks, Dave. Hi, everyone. I was finally able to log on after some technical difficulties, so I apologize. I was late. I really don't have anything to add to Dave's report at this meeting. Things seem to be moving in a positive direction. Starting to see more activity by people on the outside, which is great. It seems like they're practicing their safe distance and mask and things of that nature. So everything looks good, positive note, and hopefully it will continue this way. Thank you.
Wendy, go ahead.
Thanks. I just want to add something while Dave and Mark are here. We met Dave and the clerk and the director of recreation and I met to talk about town hall and other town facilities and also town meeting and how those would be impacted by COVID. And we thought it made sense to not rush to open town hall. So I just want you to know that that was our conclusion, because it seems that things are working the way they are. The public seems to be getting what they need. So if anyone doesn't think that's the case, please let me or Tim know. And then we had a lot of discussion on town meeting, which we can talk about later in this meeting. But if you have any questions regarding town meeting and COVID, now would be the time to ask David Emery or Mark, either one.
I will jump in. Thank you, Wendy, for bringing that up. Yep, we did. We had a great meeting, and it is our intention that to suggest that the town offices remain operating as they presently do, and probably until after town meeting, unless things change drastically between now and May 23rd. So that's what we're suggesting, that stay in place. And as far as town meeting, we visited the whole area. We walked the sites, and we came up with a conclusion that well, I don't know if it's the front of the building or the back of the building, but the Governor Hunt Road side of the building appears to be the best spot for having an open air meeting. So we're all feeling comfortable with that setup. It's logical, power wise, and the whole thing seems to fit best in that spot, as well as it leaves parking and all of that. And I know you're discussing that later, and if you want me for anything else, I'm certainly. The state, I don't know if I'd mentioned, but the governor did extend the state of emergency into May. So I'm recommending that we follow suit and we stay with our state of emergency until the state falls back.
Okay. Any other questions for Mark or David? And as always, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your useful information and always keeping us up to date. We still need to wash hands. That's still a thing, right?
That's, the mask is still the thing, even though New Hampshire has decided that's not important anymore. And, there's a number of different camps out there. The double mask is still on the table. The single mask is out there. Vermont has not relinquished and changed that guideline. Washing hands and wearing masks and the 6-foot social distance. That is still the guideline. And it's strange. I know more people now that have tested positive than I did in the past. However, everyone I know is asymptomatic. So evidently, more and more people are testing, but without symptoms at all. So the governor, and they did say that the younger crowd has done well, and graduations and stuff are still on schedule and on looking like things are going to happen.
Do you think the vaccination is the reason for things being or folks testing asymptomatic, or is it just that's the way that it is? All
of the people that have tested positive are not in the vaccine group. There's no one that's tested positive in the state of Vermont, or any data that's come out there that says that they had been vaccinated and still test positive. So that data isn't, we're not seeing that. The positive tests are in the people that have not. However, again, the good news is they're asymptomatic and not terribly sick. So I think that, again, you will see the positive reason that things are getting better is attributed and labeled because of the vaccine. I believe that. I believe that the vaccine is useful. I know there's a significant group out there that doesn't believe in the vaccine and won't get it. And there's no requirement or law or anything that's going to force people to be vaccinated.
Anything else for either of our health officer or our wonderful retired Chief David Emery? All right, guys, thanks so much again for joining us. And I'm certain we'll see you again next month.
I bet you will.
All right. Next, we have the approval of the minutes from April 12th, please.
Just one correction. I'm clerk, not secretary, please.
Howard.
Would you like to be secretary?
No, thank you.
Sorry about that. I'll fix it.
All right. Any other corrections? Otherwise, I would take a motion to accept as corrected.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded by Ms. Carr. All those in favor, please say aye. Michael?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Aye. And Jean?
Aye.
Sandy?
Aye.
And Chris is an aye. Next, we will be into the treasurer's report. So we would be looking for a quarterly budget report. And we are joined tonight by the town treasurer, Cindy Turnley. Cindy, go ahead.
Hi, I did send you all a copy of this report, and it was to show you where the budget status is at this point for the current fiscal year. Wendy and I did discuss that, I guess, wanted to see if there was any line items that we didn't think would be spent down completely. So that could be used, and Wendy and I discussed it together. And we came up with an area that we feel won't be overspent. And that's later on in this thing. It's after the warrants, but there's 30.
Cindy, we can go right ahead and knock both of them out at once.
Okay.
Unless there's any.
There's $36,900 that we found, and that consists of what would be remaining of the town administrator money. Wendy averaged that for the rest of the time she's here, she'll be working approximately 30 hours a week. So we figured that in, and then the health insurance will not be used and the dental will not be used, because even if you were to hire a new person, say in June 1st, they have to wait 3 months. So that would go into the next fiscal year. So the other place that we found was the town van. They haven't used it at all this year. So there's $7,000 there for the van driver, and the FICA of 536, and then the $1,000 for the gasoline, because they haven't used that. One I did miss under was the secretary for the select board. We figured 2,000 there that will not be spent. And I'm comfortable with saying those will not be spent. However, I'd like to point out that if you have other areas in the budget that do get overspent, hopefully, it's not looking like it would be a huge, amount. There are some here and there in some of the other departments, but there's other places that's underspent. So I think that will be okay. So that was, Wendy, do you have anything to add?
No, yeah, I think we were pretty conservative in the estimates of what would not be spent. And Cindy can still speak with the other department heads and see how their budgets are coming along. But there are a number of line items where we're underspent, and we can go through those.
I did speak
like.
with Seth Dio, and he is not comfortable because he doesn't know what's going on with his department right now, as far as opening a pool, as far as when they're going to have day camp, what they're going to be allowed to have. So he's really not comfortable at this point with making any estimates on his budget. And we can't touch David's budget anyway, because statutorily that has to stay, that money gets rolled over specifically for the highway department. So we couldn't touch that anyway. And I don't see a lot of other places in the budget where I see that I would be comfortable making cuts at this point.
Right. No, and I'm not suggesting that we make any cuts. I'm just saying that I think there are other areas that could compensate, as you were saying, for
Right.
if something does go over budget.
Correct. Yes.
And fortunately, it's near the end of the year too. So
Yes.
it's easier to project, obviously.
But we may have a big expenditure, that comes up that we, like the trees being removed. That's not an expenditure we were expecting, so that would be something that we have no way of knowing about. So there may be things out there that come along that we won't know about until they happen. So I feel comfortable with what we've come up with. And I think that's at this point, that's the way to go.
Yeah, I guess let me just
So you
add
need a
one
motion
other.
to carry over 30.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
it's better to do the carryover now before the warrant for town meeting is finalized too. That was part of the reason Cindy and I sat down.
Right.
So we need a motion to carry over $36,900 into the next fiscal year. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we'll reduce the amount we're asking to raise.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded by Mr. Root. He beat you by a hair there, Gene. All those in favor, please say aye. Jeff?
Aye.
All right. Gene?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Sandy?
Aye.
And Chris is an aye. Next, the approval of warrants, please.
I move that we approve payment of the following warrant. 20T accounts payable, $138,212.02. 14S payroll, $9,347.61. And 15S payroll, $7,472.66.
Second.
Moved and seconded by Ms. Harris to approve the bills and warrants. All those in favor, please say aye. Michael?
Aye.
Gene?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Sandy?
Aye.
And Chris is an aye. I apologize. It does seem as though my internet is lagging a little bit. So if things are backed up, that's probably all on me. Next, we are into unfinished business, the approval of the warning for the May 23rd town meeting. And we are joined this evening by Town Clerk, Mr. Arsenault. Go ahead, sir.
Well, the warning as our interim town administrator has given it to you is our final version. A couple of things you'll note. According to state protocols, we cannot deal with other unwarned business at this outdoor meeting under COVID. And we also have included in the warning to be mailed out to residents the state guidelines that we'll be working under. So we would firstly seek approval of the warning as you have received it.
Mr. Chair,
I'm sorry, Sandy, 1 second. Tim, I don't believe we ever set a rain date for this. Was there anything that we had in mind for that?
We did not. However, we could look at the following Sunday. However, Mr. Chairman, I'm extremely optimistic that Vernon is going to have a rainless Sunday on the 23rd of May.
All right. Ms. Harris, go ahead.
Tim, are you optimistic there's not going to be any snow that day, though?
stop it.
There'll be snow somewhere on Earth, but I'm optimistic it will not be in Vernon.
Okay.
I'm just giving everybody a fair heads up. If it's snowing that day, I'm not coming.
So should we be taking Article 31 off?
I believe that we should. However, if it finds its way onto the warning, I will mention in my role as town moderator that we really are forbidden to discuss unwarned business under the COVID protocols.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me add to this. You received a warning in your original packet, and that warning was modified by taking off Article 31. And I also reformatted it into 2 columns and added the instructions for the that the state requires. So that I sent out today. So sorry for the confusion and the short notice.
All right.
And that's what will go out to the public in the next couple of days.
And as we spoke, you're gonna add in somewhere that the town report and audit report are available, how they're available.
Yep. The language I added, I've done it already. It says the town report and auditor's report of the year ended June 30, 2020 are available in the town clerk's office.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for the reminder.
Does this, or should this clearly state that masks and all of that stuff are required to attend this meeting?
Yeah, and it does. Do you want me to do a screen share? Because this is really important.
That would be good.
Why don't I do a screen share?
Okay,
The latest version of the warning did include those rules which are included at the conclusion of the warning.
Which includes also a health screening
Oh, God.
that has to be
Correct.
kept, right?
okay, all
Am I sharing I think I'm sharing my whole screen now.
right.
Right.
Yeah, so switch to
Not
page 2,
what I want to
Wendy.
do. Hold on.
Yes.
I just want to share the one, because that's really confusing. Oh, it's doing it again. Well, you know what? Maybe I'll just make this bigger. And then, okay, do you see this? I'm trying to make it take up all the room.
There you go.
Okay, so this is the format so that it can be mailed. Here's the town report and auditor's report.
Perfect. Yeah.
And then over here are the rules. And this is a brief summary of the rules, and David Emery saw these. So they're current as of today. If it changes, we'll need to deal with that. We'll put information on the website. So we say cloth face coverings, everybody needs that. We have to stay 6 feet apart from other households, answer health questions, maintain a log, no tabling is allowed, and no remote entry or Zoom is permitted for voting. Now, it could be permissible to have BCTV just tape the meeting so that folks can watch, but folks will not be able to vote via Zoom. But I don't know if that's going to be permissible or not, so I didn't want to say that. But then we do have Tim's email, and people can check the website and they can call us. And we want new residents to come too. I thought it was worth putting that in.
Great, awesome, thank you.
Sure.
All right.
So
Any
again,
further
Mr. Chairman.
discussion? Go ahead.
I was just going to say that, just again, I would ask that the board approve the final version of the warning.
Right. I have a question. Have we adjusted the figures in Article 4 by what we just did?
Yes.
We have, okay.
Yes. And Cindy double checked it. So Cindy, please nod or say great.
Yes, I did. I double checked it, triple checked it, actually.
Yeah.
So,
She's
Mr.
got a
Chair,
lot of copies.
Mr. Chair, I move
Yes,
that
Ms. Harris.
we approve the warning for 2021 Vernon Town Meeting as presented.
Second.
And seconded to approve the presented warning for the May 23rd in-person town meeting for the town of Vernon. All those in favor, please say aye. Michael,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Dean,
Aye.
Sandy,
Aye.
Chris is an aye. Tim, you're approved. Thank you, sir.
I do have one other item for you, Mr. Chairman, which
Yes,
is
sir.
kind of going along with our warning. To be able to handle this, we are looking to rent a tent. So I have solicited tent rental bids. I received a bid of $2,000 from Rentals Plus, $1,900 from Elegant Rentals and Tent Settings of Keene, and a bid of $1,550 from the Paul Redeker Company of Vernon, Massachusetts. That would include setup, takedown, and in the event that any holes are put in the asphalt in the parking lot, those would be repaired.
Wow.
And I would ask for approval of the Redeker bid and the ability to use money from my existing line items to be able to make this happen.
So who are you recommending?
I would be recommending the Redeker bid, which was the low bid of the three.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I move that we award the bid for the tent to the company that our town clerk recommended.
Sandy,
Yes, sir.
could I also get approval to move money
No.
from existing line items?
No, you cannot do that, Tim. You can overspend one of your line items, but you cannot spend out of another line item. You cannot do that.
Okay, I will end up possibly overspending from one, but that,
As long as your bottom line isn't overspent, we understand that things come up like I was talking about earlier.
okay.
That has to be taken care of, but you can't just take money from one line item and move it to another one because that's not how the townspeople voted.
All right, I will heed that, and just the approval of the Redeker bid would be fine.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded by Mr. Dunkley to approve the record bid for the tent for the town meeting. All those in favor, please say aye. Michael?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Jean?
Aye.
Sandy?
Aye.
And Chris is an aye. You're all set, sir. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Are you
Next, under unfinished
Chris?
business. Oh, go ahead.
Are you
Yeah.
all set with me as well?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Yes. Yep. Thank you for joining us tonight, Cindy.
thank you very much. Have a good evening.
You too.
You as well. Next, under unfinished business, the approval of the advertisement of the town administrator position.
Do you want me to start this off?
Sure.
I sent you a draft advertisement, and this is as much to approve the beginning of the public process. You won't need to approve every single document unless you want to. But I did want to make sure that the board was, had an opportunity to look at the advertisement and give me comments. And this is not the position description. This is more of a general document. It's supposed to get people's attention. I included near-term priorities for the town, 3 of them, planning for the redevelopment of the riverfront VY property and adjacent designated village center, and protecting and supporting farming operations and farm property and long-term financial planning, those 3. So if the board wants to discuss or amend or change, obviously now's a good time. And what else is significant? The experience and abilities is it's essentially similar to, it's the same as what you had previously. Bachelor's degree in public administration, business management, written and interpersonal communication skills, and then 3 years experience in municipal government. Says salary dependent upon qualifications, full job description available on the town website. There's a blank where it says send cover letter, resume, and contact information via email to an address that I'm going to just have a separate address that'll be something like jobs at Vernon that you can use in the future. And then it says job is open until filled. Applications may be reviewed as they are received because that gives the town more flexibility. You don't have to wait until a certain deadline.
Great. Questions, comments, concerns from the board?
So in the past, the ad did include a salary range, but will that kind of information maybe be on the website? Or,
It could be, but that might be something that you want to negotiate. I looked at advertisements that are out there now, and most of them do not include salary.
okay,
And that's something we should probably have an executive session pretty soon on that. But I think you're competitive with neighboring municipalities. So I don't think there's anything, I don't think there's any problems with the budget as it sits for next year.
Good.
okay.
And I was going to go with free advertising first, like on the VLCT website and on Massachusetts websites. I noticed that on VLCT website, they're getting a lot of ads from like positions in Maine. So we might as well advertise and, have a broad swath.
Yeah, last time we also advertised on New Hampshire
Yep.
municipal and Maine municipal, so that might be what you were talking about.
Yep.
And then
Definitely.
I was looking back at what he said he did before. LinkedIn via BDCC,
Okay, good.
Indeed.
Yeah, Indeed has a cost, but it's minimal.
Okay, I'm not sure if we ever ended up going that route. Those were ideas that were thrown out there. And then the recorder, Greenfield Recorder, talked about the Rutland Herald, but well, both those newspapers, it's pretty pricey.
Yeah. Yeah, newspapers are expensive.
All right. So
Any
maybe
further
just,
discussion? Oh, sorry, Gene, I cut you off.
no, I was just saying, maybe just stick with the associations and things like that that are free.
And just word of mouth. I mean, the managers associations, we'll just get it out and you folks can, once I finalize the email address, you can send it out too. I mean, that's a really good way to get things moving is just with personal postings and post it on Facebook.
Yeah.
But please do look at, I actually use the word bucolic and I'm having second thoughts about that. So please read it. I'm going to wait a couple days, okay, before to make sure you read it.
Yeah, Wendy, that was the word that attracted me the most.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay. And I'll leave it
I'm
in.
going to apply. We'll call it.
All right.
Love it.
Very tempting.
I don't really know what it means, but I love the word.
It's like beautiful and pastoral and
Yeah,
yeah.
sounds good.
That's everything you are, Jeff.
Yeah, beautiful and pastoral. Call it.
Any further
middle name.
discussion?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the draft advertisement for town administrator. And thank Wendy for such an awesome document.
Very
Second.
nice.
Pollock.
Yeah, I want to second that one.
Moved and seconded by Mr. Dunkley. All those in favor, please say aye. Michael,
Aye.
Jeff,
Definitely I.
and Jean,
Aye.
Sandy,
Aye.
and Chris is an aye. All right, on to new business. A request for clarification on Vernon's position regarding the subjects of the NDCAP and Spent Nuclear Fuel Committee. Maddie, I think you're up.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Maddie.
Yes, so it's been a while and actually spoke with Chris about a week ago with some of my concerns, but I still felt that I needed to come and talk to all of you. I want to make sure that I'm doing the best that I can for Vernon. And in doing that, I also don't want to put Vernon at risk or say something that I would be sorry for at a later date. So as Chris suggested to me, that when I receive a question that I don't feel comfortable with, and most of them I don't feel comfortable with because they're not necessarily from people that I think have Vernon's best interests at heart, I would simply say to them that I would request that they put their questions in writing, and I would submit it to the select board for review and an answer, if you so choose to do so. The thing that I do feel comfortable saying when I am queried about the town of Vernon, and most of the time it has to do with the spent nuclear fuel, is, well, how does the town of Vernon feel about spent nuclear? I said, it's been there since the plant opened. It's been maintained. And as far as we are concerned, as long as it is maintained and it's safe, the town is okay with it. So there again, is that okay with you guys? Is there something that you'd like me to say other than that?
I think that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure. It's,
Yeah, I don't think it's something that the residents think about every day and worry about every day. You know, like you said, Maddie, it's been here. I mean, obviously we don't want the stuff to stay here forever, but that's out of our control. But again, I don't think it's something that, you know, we worry about every single day, and it's probably a greater concern to people outside the town than people that are closest to it. So
yeah,
I think that's a perfectly acceptable answer.
okay, well, as long as you feel okay with that. There is a lot of discussion about what's going to happen with the spent fuel. And basically, as you know, because it was discussed prior to this, North Star is the licensee, and they own not only the Vermont Yankee property, but they also technically own the fuel. So they're responsible for it to the NRC. And there's lots of proposals about monies that are being held at the federal level. The federal government was supposed to have opened a repository, deep earth repository for the spent nuclear fuel, and it's never come to fruition. Yucca Mountain, they've spent $13 billion on it, and it was just completely turned off during the Obama presidency, and Trump never ever did much to bring it to any further conclusion. I don't believe that the final assessment has ever been done. They are now proposing 2 interim storage sites, one in Texas and one in New Mexico. And there's a lot of pushback from everybody because nobody wants the nuclear fuel from everywhere else in their state or their backyard. So we're all kind of stuck with the same thing. Where this is going to end up, I'm not really sure. There's a lot of discussion on it. But as I said, my main focus is making sure that Vernon is acknowledged for its position as a holder of this, and that if there is any benefit, and I shouldn't say benefit, there's no benefit to having it here. But if there is any compensation for it, I will be letting you know about it as soon as I hear.
So currently North Star, in a sense, they own the spent fuel, and are they being compensated for owning it, or how's the money work out?
They have to sue the federal government every year.
Oh, my.
for the expenses in maintaining it. And it's not a one for one. They don't bill them $100,000 and get paid $100,000, and that's nowhere near what it costs to maintain it. So the more I get into this, the more my head spins. There's so much information about it. But as I said, I wanted to touch base because I feel you are the representatives of the town. And as long as I'm going to do this, I want to do the best for the town.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, Maddie, I don't think there's anything wrong with the response you had. But again, touching back to the conversation you and I had, if there's pointed questions that do put you in an awkward situation, rather than, you always have us to push it back on and to clearly tell them that you're not comfortable answering that, put it in writing, and then we'll get an answer if we feel that one is warranted. And then that kind of relieves you, and nobody's holding your feet to the fire for anything. They get to come here instead. So,
Well, hopefully they won't.
to.
Hopefully they won't come to see you. They'll accept, whatever I have that you give me. But also, you should be aware that there have been questions asked of certain entities, and they don't give an answer. They just say no response at this time. So that's something that we can do as well.
Okay. Wendy, I saw you had your hand up. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
thank you. Just one quick thing. I think it's a pretty good possibility. Maddie, you can provide additional information, but the town should get an additional seat on the NDCAP board, right? Isn't that the plan, Maddie?
Well, it was hoped for, but people seem to be reluctant to approve that. So
Okay.
I'm still waiting to hear. So as of now, I'm the only one on the NDCAP board. Remember Bob Leach? He was, well, you may not remember him, but he was brought in by the Planning and Economic Development Committee. He used to work at the plant, and he is an engineer. He was brought in for expert testimony, and he is on the NDCAP. He tends to look at Vernon favorably, for all of his time spent here. So he is the only other person that I feel really, has Vernon's interests at heart. He lives in Brattleboro.
Right. Any other questions or comments for Maddie?
We appreciate all you do, Maddie.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Hey, I live in this town too. That's
You do.
what I think is important. We all live here, and we just want to have a town that's, going to move forward and be sustainable in the future.
Michael, you were cut off. Go ahead.
I just said I don't miss those meetings, and I'm appreciative for going.
All
Thanks,
right.
Michael.
Anytime.
Maddie, thank you for joining us tonight. And by all means, always feel free to push things back on us. We certainly appreciate you being there, but we don't want you to be uncomfortable there either. So
Thank you. Good night, all.
Good night.
good night, Maddie. Next, an update on the American Rescue Plan Act, the COVID state and local fiscal recovery funds. Wendy, you got some information?
Yeah, and I just want to keep you updated on this. I was hoping to have more information, but it's essentially what I told you previously in an email, where there's two levels of assistance. The act does provide for a $99 per head per resident for every municipality. So that for Vernon, that's $217,195. So that should be coming in the next, once the state gets it, they have 30 days to distribute it to towns, or the tranche, because it's coming in two tranches. So that'll be relatively soon. The bill also provided for double that amount, or $199 per head, to counties. And since Vermont does not have much county government to speak of, the plan is that that would go to towns, which would effectively triple the amount to town. So Vernon would get 650,000, a little bit more than 650,000, which is a significant amount of money.
Yes.
We won't know for sure about the county. That's what I thought we might know by now, but we don't. We don't know for sure about that. Now there's 4 purposes for which the funds can be spent. One is to respond to the pandemic or its negative economic impacts, assistance to households, small businesses, and nonprofits, or aid to impacted industries such as tourism, travel, and hospitality. So that's one category. Second category is for premium pay to eligible workers performing essential work, as determined by each recipient government during the pandemic, providing up to $13 per hour above regular wages. So that would be going back and compensating people. The third is provision of government services to the extent of the reduction in revenue due to the pandemic. And that's relative to revenues collected in the most recent full fiscal year prior to the emergency. I don't know that Vernon experienced a significant reduction. I think it did not. And the fourth one, which is the probable place, is to make necessary investments in water, sewer, or broadband infrastructure. The state VLCT is checking to see if sewer includes stormwater and or septic. So you might start thinking about long-term water and sewer projects. Broadband's in pretty good shape in Vernon, but if there are areas that need additional broadband, just start thinking about that. Now, the town can transfer its allocation to a private nonprofit, public benefit corporation, other categories, if the government chooses to do so. Now, whoever the town would transfer it to would still need to use the funds for those 4 purposes, and the town would be responsible for making sure that they did that and reporting back to the state. So it's a good amount of money, but it's not as flexible as it could be. So they specifically prohibit it being used for pension funds, which actually isn't an issue with Vernon. And states are prohibited from using funds to offset a tax cut. So I would think that would apply to local governments also. So when you hear about this, because some people are talking about it as a huge windfall and making plans, but just temper your plans with those categories. And I'll keep you updated. I'll send you an email with what I just said so that you have it to look at.
Great. Any questions on that?
What is non-entitlement population?
What that means, you have to be a certain size municipality. I think it's about 50,000. There's only one in Vermont. Only Burlington is an entitlement community. And what it means is that you're entitled to get direct funding from the federal government for certain programs.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Weird, the Burlington.
I know. I mean, non-entitlement doesn't sound very nice, but it's just a bureaucratic word to define who can get which types of money.
Right. Any further questions or discussion on this? Seeing none, the Planning Commission has asked us to approve 2 appointments of Roger Rulewich and Jim Pinkerton in the after they've received the resignation from Natalia and Mr. Rappaport. I did reach out to one of those members, and they were never made to feel feel welcome on that committee. They felt that they were never brought up to speed from that committee, and that they were just not a part of that, no matter them being at meetings and things. There was four people interested on joining the planning commission, and my preference would be to know why these two were chose over the other two, because I feel that this is a lot of the same old, and the exact same way of thinking. You know, no offense to anybody, but the same age group. This is concerning to me that we've had two younger people that have left that board. One did leave for family reasons, but the other one to say that they did not feel welcome and were not brought up to speed on a committee that is very much supposed to be for bringing Vernon forward. And when it's a new resident in town that shows interest in being a part of what Vernon is and what Vernon can and should be moving forward, that's very concerning to me. I'm not in favor of these appointments without more information. I'm one of 5 people. I will entertain a motion on this, but that's kind of where I'm standing on this.
Well, Chris, I think both Bob Spencer, Martin, and Maddie, I believe, met with all 4 volunteers, and I mean, interviewed them essentially. So I mean, it wasn't a case of well, let's go with a couple of people that we know of. I mean, there was some due diligence in interviewing people. I'm not really sure what Natalia's concern was. I mean, you talked to her, but I'm the longest tenured member on the town planning commission. I joined over 12 years ago. I've seen a lot of volunteers come and go for various reasons. In fact, there have been some people I've seen that they moved into town, they volunteered, and they've since moved out of town. So I'm not really sure, you know, the feeling of acceptance. I mean, for the last year, we've been doing these meetings over Zoom.
It's hard.
And it's a little hard to show, you know, overwhelming support through a monitor. So, I mean, with all due respect to your opinion, generally, you know, when a committee or a volunteer board put forth recommendations as to new members, I mean, it's certainly within the select board's right to not approve. But I think we would need to go with a little more than one former member didn't quite feel accepted. I mean, I don't really understand the concrete.
And I agree with you on that, Jeff.
No.
It just, I'm curious how we skipped over. I mean, Ken Bloom has shown a tremendous interest in being a part of this town, and he's been skipped over, and Chad was also skipped over on that. And no, I was not a part of those interviews, but you know, I think that planning commission lacks a little bit of diversity just based on the age and what Vernon could be. And it's no secret that I've had issues with some of the way of thinking on that planning commission.
Right.
And that is one of the bigger ones that I have a concern with, is that some of that seems to be very much a group of like-minded friends that are sharing the same views and are really trying to drive one particular agenda and are not overly open to any other views. And that was proven in a joint meeting with the planning commission where I questioned something and that ruffled feathers because it wasn't what they wanted. But that was information that was never brought to the select board. So not only are they very directed in, they're moving in one direction, but they're also withholding information from other people that are expressing interest, and that's not making it back to us. So I've had concerns with that commission or that committee. Sandy, I see your hand. Go ahead.
Who all is on it now? Jeff, Maddie, Bob, and who else is on it?
Martin.
Martin.
So I'm not saying that I wouldn't approve this, these two appointments, but I would be curious why two younger people that have expressed interest in being a part of the development of this town were looked over for this.
I don't know. I mean, I joined the commission, I think I was in my early 40s. And, you know, I understand where you're coming from, Chris. You know, new and innovative ideas are great. But I kind of spent the first couple of years on the commission listening to some of the senior members. I don't know if I ever told you this story. My very first town planning commission meeting, Lenny Peduzzi and Mike Zluzny got into a heated argument, and Lenny quit right on the spot. And I remember thinking, what the hell have I got myself into? But I mean, I never since, well, there have been a few contentious meetings, but that's how I started my tenure out. And I don't know, I didn't ever really, I don't know how to put it. I didn't really expect hugs and acceptance right from the get-go either. You know, I hung in there, and maybe I've overstayed my welcome on the town planning commission by now, but to me, when you volunteer, you probably ought to know what you're volunteering for and give it a shot, give it a chance. And, but I mean, you know, there's some older people that have some fresh ideas too. It's not all the bailiwick of young people either.
And I won't dispute that. I certainly agree with you. My concern has not changed in the entire time that I've been on the select board, that Vernon needs to decide whether we want to be a retirement community or whether we want to come back to life. And I'm very concerned that if we continue in this direction, that we're going to see more senior housing. We're going to see more of a retirement community. And we have a school that is less than half capacity.
Yep.
And until we start bringing something back, we're going to lose our school. We're not going to have anything if we continue in this direction. And that's been my concern since I got on the select board, and that has not changed. So I am concerned if we continue looking in that direction.
Well, I personally do not know Roger Rulewich, and I know Jim Pinkerton moved back to town. But I'm going to make a motion to approve the Planning Commission's recommendation to appoint these two, realizing there's still a vacancy, because that's a 7-member commission, and this will only bring it up to 6.
Second.
I'm sorry, can I get that count one more time, Sandy? If we have Jeff, Martin,
Bob, and Maddie.
Jason O'Brien.
Jason.
I forgot about Jason. Yeah, okay.
All right, thank you. So then we don't have a vacancy.
No.
But I'll still make a motion to appoint them.
I'll still second.
Moved and seconded by Mr. Dunkley. All those in favor, please say aye. Michael,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Jean,
Aye.
Sandy,
Aye.
and I'm a nay. Next on the new business, we have the approve a contract with George Sansoucy to provide a valuation, consulting, and expert witness services as recommended by the listers, please.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the agreement between George Sansoucy and the town of Vernon for the aforementioned services.
Second,
Moved and seconded by Ms. Carr. All those in favor, please say aye. Michael,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Jean,
aye.
Sandy,
Aye.
and Chris is an aye. Next, we have the town admin report. Wendy, please.
Sure, and this will be pretty short. The Vernon historians would like to use the Veterans Memorial for the Memorial Day event instead of,
Chapel.
yes,
Yeah.
thank you. So I don't know if that needs to come before you or not officially. We still have time for it because it's not until it's not until the end of May, obviously.
I make a motion that we approve the historian's request of using the gazebo for the Memorial Day program.
Second.
Sandy, would you allow us to add to that they follow COVID protocol, please?
Right, by all means.
Michael, would you still second that?
Still second.
Moved and seconded by Mr. Root to allow the historians to use the memorial site for their Memorial Day service, providing that protocol for COVID-19 is followed. All those in favor, please say aye. Michael,
Aye.
Jean,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Sandy,
Aye.
and Chris is an aye.
Great, and the only other thing I had is that there are 2 trees around Town Hall that need to come down, and I sent you photos of them this afternoon. We had a hanging limb, and when Dave Walker went out with the tree folks, they found that tree and another tree are rotted on the inside. So I took photos of the trees with the building in the background so you can see where they are. But one is on the west side of the building. That's the one that had the limb. And the other one is on the south side of the building. So it's a shame, but they look unsavable.
So Wendy,
Last year, go ahead, Jean.
I was gonna say, one of them that needs to come down is the one that the limb was taken from?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So when they came to take the limb, they noticed.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah.
There is also one on the corner of the historical museum that I had spoken to David about last year. He said he spoke to whatever that tree company was that spent 3 months in Vernon doing whatever they were doing. We're all over Pond Road and everywhere else. He said they were going to remove that. We've never seen them. One side of that is completely rotted and it is hanging over the corner of the historian's building. So that needs to be brought into this as well, I think.
Okay. And that's the museum at the very south end of town, right?
Correct.
Okay. I will.
Museum or the chapel?
The museum.
Okay. You know, Anson Baldwin does that too, as well as D&E.
Well,
Anson Baldwin owns D&E.
Oh, he
Yeah.
does? Well, then I guess it
Lisa
doesn't
said it.
matter.
That's what the company is. It starts with an A. I'm sorry. It all just happened today, so I'm not sure.
Asplund?
As
Baldwin.
I'm sorry. Say again.
Anson, Anson.
Yeah.
Baldwin.
Okay.
And the other one is Asplunda or something like that.
Oh, Asplund, they're nationwide. Wow.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
big.
Okay.
Well, they're the ones that David spoke to last year because they were the ones that were doing all of the line work in Vernon and he
Hired by the
told
power
me-
company.
Right.
Yeah.
But that tree is close to the power lines, which is why they were supposed to come back and take that one. So I don't know if this is a friendly reminder or if it is indeed a cost to the town of Vernon. But either way, I think that needs to be dealt with before we lose the corner of that museum.
Okay.
Ah,
All right. And that's all I have unless anyone has any questions. Oh, actually,
None.
let me just mention the new landscaping contract has started. And he took care of the mulch. And let me know if you have comments. I think it looks pretty good. If you want additional mulch, that would be an additional charge. He's done what the contract included. We're gonna get the carpets clean Friday, so things are moving on that.
Great.
One thing that we do need to make sure that we're keeping an eye on, sorry, Gene and Wendy being in that building is often, but the problem we had last year with things growing up in the stone around the building, which actually led to things getting into our cooling or whatever the units are outside. We had a lot of vines that got in there because it wasn't treated. So I think we should just make sure we're keeping an eye on that before anything happens.
Right. Okay.
And with nothing else, upcoming meetings, the Planning Commission has a meeting tomorrow at 6:30, and then we have our next regular meeting May 4th at 6:30. I would take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, seconded by Mr. Dunkley. All those in favor, please say aye. Michael,
Aye.
Jeff,
Definitely aye.
Gene,
Aye.
Sandy,
Aye.
and Chris is an aye. Have a good night, everybody.
Aye.
Thank you.
Bye.